Okay, we're on chapter 3 today of the book, but I wanted to kind of bring up one thing. Last week, there was a great deal of talk about giving up sleep, but I think the important thing of that was not don't sleep at night. Those were Latu's personal instructions from Ramakrishna. I think the thing that is the most inspiring to see is how quickly he obeyed his guru, how quickly he took it as teachings for his welfare, and he immediately started working on it. I think that, to me, is what we should take away from that, rather than trying to follow Latu's instructions, the instructions meant for him. John, do you have a question?
Yeah, that reminds me of the Gita and Arjuna, who evidently never slept. Is that related?
Well, they said he was the conqueror of sloth. However, if we were just reading the Gita this afternoon, and it said, yoga is not for him who sleeps too much nor wakes too much, who eats too much or eats too little. It is for the man of moderation. So, different people have different instructions, but we have a tendency when we read books to think, oh, I should do that, I should do that, I should do that. No.
That's called medical student syndrome.
I don't know. Anyway, it's 5 o'clock now, and so if you all want to mute yourselves, and we'll get started. So this is chapter 3, Memories of Sri Ramakrishna, as told by Latu Maharaj. One day, Sri Ramakrishna asked Latu, "Do you know who is within this body?" "No, I don't," Latu replied. "Here God alone exists," said Sri Ramakrishna. "Do not forget this." Latu, "How can I forget someone who loves me so much?" answered Latu. Latu did not forget. Throughout his life, his mind was filled with the thought of Sri Ramakrishna, and he would sometimes reveal to others the substance of these thoughts. Latu was almost constantly in attendance on Sri Ramakrishna from the time he joined the master at Dakshineswar until the master's death. Therefore, his reminiscences of Sri Ramakrishna have a special value in their wealth of detail and insight. It was March 11th, 1883, Sri Ramakrishna's birthday. The master asked me to bring him some water from the Ganga for his bath. He took his bath with 1 pitcher of water. Afterward, he went to the Kali temple. We had to work in the kitchen. Between 100 and 150 people had their meal at Dakshineswar on that occasion. And whatever was left from the meal was distributed to the poor. Manomohan Babu, and it says here Babu is a respectful term of address, equivalent to master. Manomohan Babu brought a kirtan party from Kanagar, and the master sang with them. Later he asked us to join him in the Panchavati. The master told us that day that he was not only a sannyasin, a monk, but king among sannyasins. Once while staying at Dakshineswar, Rakal became sick. The master told him, "Take this prasad to Lord Jagannath, then you will be all right." Jagannath is a manifestation of Krishna. Such is the effect of the prasad of Jagannath. You people don't believe that. The master used to say, before you take your food, eat 1 or 2 particles of Jagannath prasad. Now, Jagannath prasad is this dried rice that they give you in little packets. I think perhaps today you buy these little packets, but it's offered rice, and very dry and very hard. On Dashahara Day, a special celebration in honor of the Ganga, the master asked us to offer worship to Mother Ganga. He told Rakal, that's later Swami Brahmananda, Mother Ganga is a living goddess, and today one should worship her. At that time, Rakal did not regard the Ganga as a goddess. And as the master knew this, he told him, one day while I was walking near the embankment of the Ganga, I had a doubt. Is Mother Ganga truly a goddess? At that moment, I heard the distinct sound of a conch shell coming from the middle of the river. Gradually, the sound came nearer, and I saw a boy traveling across the water, blowing a conch, and a goddess was following him. That vision dispelled all my doubts. And there's a footnote there. This vision of Sri Ramakrishna corroborates the mythological story of how Bhagirath brought the Ganga from heaven to earth with a view to saving his departed ancestors. Rakal was amazed to hear this and said, we don't know about such things. We only know the Ganga as a river of water befouled by the boatmen. The master replied sharply, take care. Don't you befoul the Mother Ganga. From that day onward, Rakal had great respect for the Ganga. That was also the first year, 1883, when I attended the festival at Panihati with the master. Rakal, Bhavanat, and others went in Ram Babu's carriage. Many other devotees of the master also attended. Navadip Goswami was there, and the master suddenly began to sing with him. All of us were startled to see the master go into Bhava Samadhi. His breathing stopped, his face, eyes, even the palms of his hands reddened. Seeing him in this ecstatic mood, many persons rushed to take the dust of his feet. We were in a dilemma. Everyone wanted to touch the master, and though we forbade them, they ignored us, so there was an uproar. Ram Babu said to me, Lito, don't try to stop them. Lito was what they called Latu. Let the people touch him and be blessed, but I didn't obey him, for I knew that if just anybody touched the master while he was in Samadhi, he would experience terrible pain. At last, 3 of us, Rakal, Bhavanat, and myself, escorted him from the grounds to the parlor. But how difficult it was to resist those devotees. Even as we headed for the parlor, people began to touch his feet. Then, do you know what Ram Babu did? He took a handful of dust from the ground and touched it to the master's feet, then started to distribute it among the people. Thus, the master was released from the crowd. The following year, actually this visit was in 2 years later, 1885, I also went to Panihati with him. This time we went by boat. Someone asked Holy Mother, Sri Sarada Devi, to accompany us, but she refused. The master praised her for this. See her wisdom. She refused to go with us so that no one would make critical comments about us. That year, the master took prasad with all and danced in ecstasy with both hands raised. At this same festival, the master was offered 5 rupees. Other holy men received only 1 or 2 rupees. And this is an Indian custom where they offer honor a holy man with gifts. The master would not accept the money. The manager of the festival insisted, however, and secretly gave the money to Rakal. With the money, Rakal bought a basket of mangoes and a package of sweets for the master. When the master came to know of it, he was angry with Rakal and warned him, never do anything like that again. Your acceptance means my acceptance. A monk must be like the birds and not lay things up for the future. About 2 months before Durga Puja, the autumn festival of the goddess, we accompanied the master to Jadu Malik's house in Poturiagat, in Calcutta. Although I had seen Jadu Malik before in his garden house, adjacent to the Dakshineswar temple, I had never been to his home. The master came to see the new image of the goddess, Simhavani, who was the presiding deity at Jadu Malik's house. After visiting the shrine, the master asked about Jadu Babu. Jadu Babu was lying on a marble bench. He greeted the master. "Welcome, welcome, young priest. You don't come this way very often anymore. But since Mother is here now, you have remembered us." In reply, the master said, "What type of man are you? Mother has come here, and you didn't let me know." "Young priest, I never met a man so well informed about the Mother as you," replied Jadu Babu. "She arrived just yesterday, and you've come already. Where has there been time to send the news to you?" "All right," said the master, smiling. "Now please ask for some of the Mother's prasad to be brought. It would not be auspicious if we returned home without having taken anything. It is considered inauspicious for a householder not to offer anything to a holy man who visits his home." Still lying on the bench, Jadu Babu ordered someone to bring some prasad, and that was done instantly. When the master was ready to leave, Jadu Babu said, "Won't you say hello to my own mother?" So the master shouted, "Hello, Jadu's mother. Will you give me a glass of water?" Jadu's mother came downstairs with a glass. The master took it and sipped from it once. When the master returned to the carriage, the devotees said, "Sir, please don't go to such a rich man's house again. Why should you visit him? He did not even ask you to be seated. Why should you be subjected to such insults?" The master answered, "These are worldly people, and they are always desiring worldly things. Yet in between their worldly thoughts, the worship of the Mother, they worship the Mother. You don't even do that much. Why should your heads ache over whether he did or didn't ask me to sit down? You came to visit the Mother, and as a bonus you received prasad. Isn't that enough for you? Who else would have given you prasad at such an unusual hour? Did you come only to visit Jadu and to be offended because he did not ask you to be seated?" The devotees who had spoken against Jadu Babu became silent. Thus would the master test us. If you want to be a sadhu, he would say, give up the idea of self-importance. Pay no attention to whether you are respected or not. One day the master told Jadu Babu, "You have saved so much for this world. What have you acquired for the next?" Jadu Babu replied, "Young priest, you are the one who will take care of the other world for me. You will save me at the moment of death, and I am waiting until then. If you don't grant me liberation, your name, deliverer of the fallen, will be marred. So you cannot forget me at my death." You see, although Jadu Malik had plenty of money, he couldn't give up the desire for more. Another time the master told him, "Jadu, you have saved so much money, yet you still want more." Jadu Babu replied, "That desire will not go. You cannot give up the desire for God. In the same way, we worldly people cannot give up our desire for money. Why should I renounce money? You renounce all the things of the world and yearn for God, while I am a beggar asking for more and more of his riches. Doesn't worldly wealth also belong to him?" The master was very pleased to hear this line of argument. "If you maintain this attitude, you have no need to worry. But tell me, Jadu, are you saying this sincerely?" Then Jadu Babu replied, "Young priest, you know that I cannot hide anything from you." On another occasion, The master said to Jadu Babu, "You used to chant the name of God, but now you do not think of him. Why is this?" Jadu Babu said, "Since I have known you, I don't feel the need to call on God, and I have found that if I chant the name of the Lord, my mind cannot concentrate on worldly affairs, so I neglect the Lord in order to look after my fortune." "Don't go so far, Jadu," said the master. "Why must you be like an ox yoked to a grinding mill?" "That is the result of my past actions," replied Jadu. The master taught us a great deal. Sometimes he would purposely send me to Lauren, that's Swami Vivekananda, so that I would hear about many things from him. Often the master would arrange a debate between Girish Babu and Lauren, but Lauren was powerful and not afraid to challenge anyone. He would argue a lot, and I would report it all to the master. Now and then the master would test me. Once he asked, "Noran said all this and you kept quiet?" "What do I know?" was my answer. "How can I compete with Lauren?" The master said, "You have heard so many things here," meaning himself, "and you said nothing? You should have told him that if God did not create this world, then who did?" "Lauren says that this creation is a natural process," I replied. "Is it possible for nature to create?" The master said, "If there is an effect, there must be a cause that preceded it. There is a powerful being behind this creation." Did you know that the master snatched me from the snares of the world? I was an orphan. He flooded me with love and affection. If he had not accepted me, I would have been like an animal, spending my days working like a slave. All my life would have been worth nothing. I am an unlettered man. He used to tell me, "Always keep your mind spotless. Don't allow impure thoughts to enter it. If you find such desires tormenting you, pray to God and chant his name. He will protect you. If the mind still will not remain calm, then go to the temple of the Mother and sit before her, or else come here," pointing to himself. Once, a devotee at Dakshineswar was behaving badly, and I found it impossible to check my irritation. I scolded him, and he felt very hurt. The master knew how the devotee had suffered, and when the devotee had gone, he said to me, "It is not good to speak harshly to those who come here. They are tormented with worldly problems. If they come here and then are scolded for their shortcomings, where will they go? In the presence of holy company, never use harsh words to anyone, and never say anything to cause pain to another." Do you know what he told me next? "Tomorrow, visit this man and speak to him in such a way that he will forget what you said to him today." So the next day I visited him. My pride was humbled. I spoke to him very sweetly. Then I returned. However, the master asked, "Did you offer him salutations from me?" Amazed at his words, I said that I had not. Then he said, "Go to him again and offer him my salutations." So again I went to that man and conveyed the master's salutations. At this, the devotee burst into tears. I was moved to see him weeping. When I returned this time, the master said, "Now your misdeed is pardoned." One day, Girish Ghosh saluted the master by raising his folded hands to his forehead. The master immediately returned the salutation by bowing from the waist. Girish saluted the master again. The master saluted Girish Babu with an even deeper bow. At last, when Girish Babu prostrated flat on the ground before him, the master blessed him. Later, Girish Babu would say, This time the Lord has come to conquer the world through prostrations. In his incarnation as Krishna, it was the flute, as Chaitanya, the name, but the weapon of his powerful incarnation this time is the salutation. The master used to say, "Learn to be humble. The ego will thus be removed." Hazra suddenly said to the master one day, Gadadhar, that's Ramakrishna's name, that his parents gave him, "You are not proceeding along the right lines." Now, this is Hazra. "If you continue like this, people won't respect you for long. At least show them a little something. Why not count beads as I do?" This made the master laugh. He called Harish, Gopal, and Rakal and said to them, "Do you know what advice Hazra is giving me? He is telling me to start counting beads. But you see, I can't do those things now. Still, he says that people won't respect me if I don't tell beads. Is that true?" "Pay no attention to his words," said Harish. "He's just a fool." "Don't say that," said the master. "The Divine Mother is speaking through him." Harish was surprised. "What? The Divine Mother speaking through Hazra?" "Yes," answered the master. "Mother conveys her messages like this." Nevertheless, Hazra's mind was a bit twisted. While practicing japa, telling his beads, he would meditate on worldly things, so he didn't make any progress. But he escaped the snares of the world by holding on to Lauren. It was due to Lauren's insistence that the master blessed Hazra. After the master passed away, Hazra began to think of himself as an avatar, even greater than the master. One day, Hazra had a desire to massage the master's feet, but the master wouldn't let him. Hazra felt hurt. He left the room and sat outside and was very morose. At last, the master called him back, and that day only he served the master. On another occasion, Hazra wanted to lecture to those who had come to the temple. When they arrived to see the master, he told them, "Today, Sri Ramakrishna is not here. What will you gain by merely sitting in his room? Come and listen to what I have to say." But nobody went with him. Lauren was Hazra's bosom friend. He would prepare tobacco for Lauren and have long discussions with him. Lauren used to tease him, "Really, you are a wonderful Siddha Purusha, perfect soul. At last I have found a rare soul who is constantly telling his beads. Your rosary is very nice, such big, bright beads. There is none like you." Then Hazra would swell with pride and tell us, "You people cannot understand me, not even Ramakrishna. Only Narayan knows me." Just see his pride. Man falls in this way. He used to chant Soham, Soham, I am Brahman. The master would tell us, "Don't associate with Hazra. Yours is the path of devotion. What will you do with that dry knowledge?" When I first saw Balaram Babu, I did not recognize him as a Bengali. He wore a turban, as is customary with the Punjabi Sikhs, and carried a staff, and he wore a long gown with an extra cloth over it. He also had a long beard. Now and then we went to his house. The master used to say, Balaram's house is my Calcutta fort, my parlor." Balaram Babu arranged for the daily worship of Lord Jagannath in his home. The master said that the food there was very pure. I have heard that the master visited his home 100 times, and that Balaram Babu maintained a record of these visits. Balaram Babu also visited Dakshineswar very often. The master once saw him in a vision as a member of a kirtan party led by Sri Chaitanya. Balaram would escort the master to the inner apartments, the women's quarters of his home. However, his elder brother, Hari Ballabh Babu, did not approve. Girish Babu and Hari Ballabh Babu were close friends, so Girish Babu heard about it. One day when the master had come to Balaram Babu's house, Girish Babu called Hari Ballabh Babu to come and see the master. Both of them, the master and Hari Ballabh Babu, began to weep. There's too many B's for my tongue is getting stuck on this. I could not understand why. Afterwards, I went to see Hari Ballabh Babu in Kutat in order to learn the reason, but he did not disclose it. Balaram Babu would save money from his household budget and use it to serve the monks. His relatives thought he was a miser. I never knew how rich he was. One day, seeing him lying on a narrow bed, I said, "Why don't you find yourself a larger bed? This one is too narrow for you." Do you know what he said? "This earthly body will one day return to the earth. Why should money be spent for my bed when it can be much better spent in service to holy people?" One day, Balaram Babu hired a horse carriage for the master. The fare from Calcutta to Dakshineswar was only 12 annas, and such a cheap carriage greatly inconvenienced the master. One wheel of the carriage came off along the way. The horse did not behave either. If they were whipped, they ran. Otherwise, they would not move. The master did not reach Dakshineswar until midnight. Later, he would often joke about this incident. Okay, I think we can stop there. Are there any comments about his reminiscences of his time with Ramakrishna? Any questions about any of the things? The names are probably not familiar because Latu Maharaj spoke with a very, very heavy Bihari accent. And so names like Narayan, which was Swami Vivekananda, always came out Lauren from him. His own name, Latu, came out Letu. And he just couldn't manage Bengali pronunciation. And it never changed. There was a point earlier when he said Ramakrishna himself tried to teach him and would go over the pronunciation with him for 3 days, and it didn't work, and so he gave up. But that was are there any questions? Did anyone have anything? Okay. Saturday evening at 5 o'clock, we will have the gospel reading here in the temple. And Sunday on the 12th, we're going to have Swami Chetanananda, who is now stationed at Advaita Ashram in Kolkata. He has, however, been raised here in the United States and was in Southern California for quite a while, born and raised in the California area. And his talk will be Sri Ramakrishna and the growth mindset. So, and I have heard rumors that he's got some pictures that will go along with it. So you're welcome to come to the temple. You'll have to come to the temple if you want to see the pictures. We may get them on Zoom, but I'm not sure. Okay, we'll end with a chant. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Panamastu.